Did you know that many animals have culture and that it's directing genetic evolution? It started in the Gulf of Maine, just off the east coast of America. A population of humpback whales devised an innovative method of foraging known as lobtail feeding. They prey on sandlams, an eel-shaped fish that forms large shoals. The whales thump the water surface with their tails. This shocks the fish below into tightening their school. Then the whales spiral around the school, releasing air from their blowholes, trapping the fish in a net of bubbles. Finally, they lunge up from beneath with mouths gaping to feast on the corralled fish. Lobtail feeding was first observed in 1980 in a single individual and has subsequently spread to hundreds of whales in the region. Scientific analyses have established that lobtail feeding is a learned trait. Individuals acquire it through copying each other, and gradually it spreads through the population. Young whales acquire this feeding method from older individuals, and in this way lobtail feeding is passed down the generations as a cultural tradition. It seems to be highly productive and to enhance the whale's biological fitness. Interestingly, other humpback whale populations in the northeast Pacific have a different cultural tradition where small groups coordinate their bubble net feeding. The fact that the whales are inheriting adaptive foraging information culturally, independently of genetic inheritance, is making evolutionary biologists think. Biologists have long been aware of cultural inheritance, but have tended to regard it as a special case relevant only to humans. That belief is no longer tenable. The whales are just the tip of an animal culture iceberg. In the last 50 years, vast evidence for culture has emerged through scientific investigations of a very broad array of animals. Numerous species transmit learned knowledge through imitation and other forms of social learning, including dietary information, feeding techniques, predator avoidance strategies, songs and calls, learned migratory pathways, and learned mate choices. There are now, quite literally, thousands of scientific reports of learned behaviours spreading through natural animal populations by these means. Familiar examples include chimpanzees fishing for termites with sticks and birds drinking from milk bottles. However, animal culture does more than simply contribute to inheritance. It allows groups of animals to adjust their behaviour to match their environment. In the case of the whales, the capability to hunt locally abundant prey did not arise through genetic mutation and natural selection, but via behavioural innovations spread through cultural transmission. In some species, humans included, culture has become the principal means by which the animal adapts to its environment, giving rise to a new form of adaptability. What's more, the spread of cultural knowledge is driving genetic evolution. For instance, the head shape and digestive physiology of killer whales has evolved through the natural selection of genes that are suited to the whale's learned feeding habits. Here and elsewhere, culture is imposing a direction on genetic evolution. Fascinating, isn't it? Continue reading Evolution Evolving here.